Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Sampriti and you are watching the Literary Theory series, the new series that I have started, Literary Theory Made Easy. I have already uploaded one video, the first lecture that is on new criticism. And this is the second lecture of that series. And in this video, I am going to talk about formalism from net point of view. I will discuss major theorists, major aspects of this movement, of this theory, and the major works and concepts of these theorists that I have mentioned. So, without further ado, we will start. But before going on to the video, please make sure you like this video, share it with all the aspirants, and please don't forget to comment your observations because your comments are my commands. So, those of you who had not subscribed to my channel, because I have seen that many of you watch my videos but you haven't yet subscribed to my channel. Please do subscribe to my channel so that I gain more and more inspiration and more encouragement to make newer and more informative videos. So let's start. Formalism. From the name itself, you can imagine this is about form. In new criticism, I had told that new criticism talked about autotelic text, or text is an autonomous body. Text is an entity in itself, and you don't have to know about the author or the context just to know about a text. A text tells itself in itself. So, formalism talks about form of a text, or the structure of a text, and how the structure of a text is more important than anything else in order to understand a text. So you might ask that, you said, ma'am, new criticism emerged as a reaction to formalism, but it seems to be the same to me, new criticism and formalism. No, they're not the same. And here's why. New criticism emphasizes on the emotive value of a text, the feelings that is ingrained in the text itself. But formalism acutely talks about the form and structure. It is more mechanic, I would say. The form, the structure, the meters, But the new criticism theory talks about the inherent being of a text. Suppose text is a body and you are erasing the author and the history and the context and the situation where it was written from the body of the text, and the two things are remaining: the structure of it and the feelings of it, the words that the body named text has to say. So the feelings of it, the ingrained, the inherent words of the text body, the body that we are imagining as the text, that is new criticism. New criticism talks about that. And formalism, the structure of it, the structure of the text body, that is taken up by the theory formalism. In Bengali, if we say, যদি টেক্সটকে আমরা একটা শরীর হিসেবে ধরি, তাহলে সেই শরীরের যে ইনগ্রেইন্ড ইনহেরেন্ট ফিলিংস, যে ইনগ্রেইন্ড ইনহেরেন্ট কাহিনী, সহজাত যে কাহিনী সেই শরীরটা বলে, সেটা হচ্ছে নিউ ক্রিটিসিজম সেই কথাগুলো বলছে, সেই সত্যগুলোকে আনার চেষ্টা করছে। আর ফর্মালিজম কি চেষ্টা করছে, যে ওই টেক্সট বডিটার স্ট্রাকচার, ওই বডিটার স্ট্রাকচারকে ধরার, তার কতগুলো হাত আছে, কতগুলো পা আছে, তার ফ্রেমিংটা কিরকম, তার কতগুলো অর্গানস আছে, তার কি কি ফাংশনস আছে, এরকম। ওকে, সো আই হোপ ইট ইজ আ লিটল বিট ক্লিয়ারার। If you have any doubt or any observations, you can please direct them in the comment section. I would love to see your comments. And honestly speaking, if you are commenting, that makes me make more engaging and more informative, like put more hard work in these videos. And if you guys don't comment, then I feel very disheartened, and I feel that I'm putting so much hard work and making these videos only to help you, but you are not commenting. So maybe I'm not clear enough, or I have some faults in my teaching. So please, I just get very confused. So please comment and let me know what you think about my videos. Do you think that I'm not capable enough to express all the things that I want to say, or what do you think? Anything positive, negative, constructive criticism, negative criticism, whatever you want to do with my videos, please do it in the comment section so that I know that I'm reaching you, so that I can know what are the areas that I need to improve. Anyways, moving on to the second slide. Okay, so formalism, this movement originated in Russia and France in 1940s and 1920s to 1940s and middle of 40s. And the people who were associated with formalism, they undertook the task of assessing the texts as a mechanical body, and the motto of them was, the device is the only hero of literature. This was kind of the same thing in new criticism too, autotelic text, that there is nothing outside the text. But there is a very subtle difference. You have to understand this. The subtle difference is that they are saying the device, they are looking at the text as a device, as a mechanical being, where there is a structure, there is a few limited functions. And for new criticism, they are focusing on the immense, the ocean of possibilities that a text beholds, that a text holds in itself. So the formalists tended to distinguish between the practical language and the poetic language. So what is a practical language and what is a poetic language? They tended to put a barricade between these two languages. This is very important. Multiple times questions from this have been asked in NET and in SET, GSET and APSET. Three societies of formalism, and here the acronyms come very handy. The first one is OPOJAZ. OPOJAZ. It's not an acronym for anything English, but it is the Russian. The Russian is given here, and I don't know Russian, so I cannot pronounce this. The English for it is a Society for the Study of Poetic Language. And the formalist critics, the formalist theorists also, they are very mechanically assess the languages, the poetic language and the practical language. They try to find an underlying structure in everything. This is just the Russian brother of structuralism. Structuralism was mainly in France in the 1930s and 40s, and formalism was in Russia 1920s. Okay, so for formalism and structuralism, you will see a lot of overlap in between these two. Okay, the structuralists and the formalists are kind of like the same side of the two sides of a same coin. Okay, so you might want to read formalism and structuralism together. I was willing to sort of make a video merging them two, like formalism and structuralism, but then I thought, no, I will make two separate videos like this, because in my notes they are added, they are explained separately, so I will go by my notes. Okay, so first society was OPOJAZ. which was a Society for the Study of Poetic Language, MLS, which is the Moscow Linguistic Society, and PLC, the Prague Linguistic Society. So the three societies of formalism were opposers, MLS and PLC. Father of formalism was Victor Slavsky, who talked about defamiliarization. Defamiliarization. We will go to that by when we will go to that in a minute. And formalism was sort of it tried to catch the essence of the literariness of a text. Literariness of a text. Literariness, this term was coined by Roman Jacobson. And also that is the name of a website, Literariness, where I had gathered many articles from. So you can visit that website for your literary theory and criticism part. They offer amazing literary articles. They are very easy to read and they are very reader friendly. So you can go for that. I will paste the link of that website in the description box. All right. So the first theorist in formalism I will talk about is Yuri Tanyanov. Yuri Tanyanov. They all are Russians. So their names are like this. Yuri Tanyanov was very important because he blended formalism and structuralism. As I said, formalism and structuralism are like two sides of the same coin, but they had their differences also. Yuri was the one who blended them, French structuralism and Russian formalism. And he wrote one essay called Thesis on Language. That was a thesis. In 1928, he wrote that in collaborating with Roman Jacobson. Jacobson was a formalist, but a precursor to structuralism also. And both of them, Yuri Tanyanov and Roman Jacobson, wrote this thesis. And they wrote, it was a treatise on literary structure, the structure of literary texts. Bakhtin, who we will discuss in the structuralism part, Mikhail Bakhtin, a very, very important, a giant figure in structuralism. So in the next lecture in this series, that will be on structuralism, he opposed this idea. Yuri Tanyanov and Roman Jacobson wrote about literariness, wrote about the nature of literary texts and the structure of the literary texts. And Bakhtin was in opposition with the ideas that Tanyanov and Roman Jacobson tried to convey. Speaking of whom, let's move on to Roman Jacobson. He was associated with the PLS, or the Prague Linguistic Society, or the Prague Linguistic Circle, whatever you say. Prague Linguistic Society or Prague Linguistic Circle. The Opojazz was a school where we had Victor Slavsky and Todorov and theorists like them. And Prague Linguistic Society had theorists like Roman Jacobson and Tanyanov and so on and so forth. Jacobson wanted to assess the sound properties of language or text. He wanted to break them down to atoms. He treated the language or a text like a molecule, and he wanted to break the molecules down, boil them down to atoms, like physics, science. He talked about the language and the texts as science. There is nothing beyond it. There is nothing not to be understood. He wanted to rationalize and explain everything scientifically, and he emphasized a lot on sound properties of a language or text. And he was also a very important proponent of Saussurean structuralism. We will talk about Saussure in the next lecture, which is on structuralism. And he talked about structuralism, semiotics, and stuff like that. We will read about that. That's another complicated chapter. Roman Jacobson was very much aligned with Saussurean thoughts on language and linguistics and structuralism. Just remember that, okay? Two aspects of language and two types of aphaustic disturbances. This was an essay. This was an probably written, I don't remember the um, era. I don't remember the year, probably in 1936 or 46, I guess. I'm not sure. It was an essay where Jacobson proposed that language has two poles. So, who was a theorist who described language as a bipolar structure? That was Roman Jacobson. And this bipolar structure had two poles. One was metaphor and the other was metonymy. And all the structure of any text in the world, as Jacobson said, can be framed between these two poles. Okay, every text, every language, every text, any literary work has these two poles. Okay. Another very important book by Roman Jacobson is Functions of Language, where he talks about 6 functions of language: referential, poetic, emotive, conative, phatic, and metalingual. Let me give you this. So this is a page. I don't know the picture is clearly visible or not. This is a page from my notebook. For your reference, for your sort of convenience, I have added this in the slide. So sound system of language. The first chart is on sound system of language. You can see. So language has 4 parts: sounds, words, sentences, meaning. So you can see how the formalists are dissecting the texts. Those who had biology in their course, they will know that we have dissected frogs and we have dissected flowers and leaves, and we know how we dissected them. We gathered the parts and we made them separate. We noted down the properties of each segment. Like that, Roman Jacobson dissects language, a literary text, and separates all the parts of language. He separates the parts of language in 4 sections: sounds, words, sentences, and meaning. Sounds, that is a phonetic component. Words, that is the morphologic component. Morphology of folk tales, we will see Vladimir Prop in the structuralism, we will see morphologies of words. Sentences, that is a syntactic or the syntax element, and meaning, that is a semantic or the pragmatic. So phonetic, morphology, syntax, and semantic. PMSS. Sound, word, sentence, meaning. So these 4 components of language. And the 6 functions of language can be read like this. There are 6 functions. You can see, you will remember the visual depiction of these 6 functions so that you can remember them. So context or the referential, message, that is a poetic component, a poetic function. Contact, that is a phatic function. And metalingual, that is code. Okay, the code is the metalingual function. So from addressor, the message is going towards the addressee. So addressor here is the emotive function and addressee here is the conative function. So from emotive to conative, the message is going from emotive to conative through 4 more functions. The 4 more functions are referential, poetic, phatic, and metalingual. Metalingual is like the use of language to discuss and describe itself. Okay, that is a reflexive codes. We say na codes. That is a metalingual part where the language itself discusses itself. Okay, fatigue, that is language for the sake of communication. Okay, and cognitive is engages with the addressee directly. You know, when we the addressee, when the addressee is in contact with the addressee directly through language, like, hey Tom, come on, hey Ria, what are you doing? So we are uh, at once we are taking the name of the addressor and we are referencing to them. So that is the cognitive function of the addressee. Okay, so that was all. It is, see, uh, this is very complicated to discuss Roman Jacobson. Summarizing him in 2 minutes is a daunting task. It's impossible, but still, I tried a lot. I mean, I tried to try a lot to do this, to summarize them, summarize these concepts as well as I can. I hope a little bit you can understand. So there are just close your eyes and spread your arms in two ways. The right side of your arm is the addressee, the left side of your arm is the addressor, and your head is context or the referential function. Your neck is the message or the poetic function. Your belly is the contact or the fatigue function, and your feet are the code or the metalingual function. Remember them like this. So in the visual image like that, like the way I drew the functions, as you can see in the screen. Well, now the next theorist, Viktor Slavsky. Viktor Slavsky was a father of Russian formalism, and he was the one who gave birth to a new concept called defamiliarization. Defamiliarization, you can see defamiliarization or something familiar. There is something familiar, and we are not letting it be so. We are trying to defamiliarize it by deforming it or by estranging the familiar elements from it. You know, the estrangement, when, if you see Kafka's Metamorphosis, he is totally estranged by, he has turned Kafka, the protagonist of the story Metamorphosis, he has become a bug, and he is thus defamiliarized from a very familiar world. That is a prime example of defamiliarization, when there is something familiar but it suddenly becomes unfamiliar. Okay, and so that is defamiliarization. um, who was who was the proponent of defamiliarization in formalist criticism? It is Viktor Shklovsky. He discusses this in one chapter called Theory of Prose in the book Art as Technique. Art as a Technique. In Art as a Technique, in the chapter Theory of Prose, Shklovsky talks about defamiliarization, that is, a deformed language estranged from the ordinary. It increases the reader's interest for the text. Whenever, you know, you are reading something very familiar, okay, he got up, he got his breakfast, then he went for his office. It's very familiar, very sort of day by day, day to day thing. But suddenly he comes across an alien. That's where the reader is really shocked. What, an alien? So that is where you are defamiliarizing the concept, defamiliarizing the language. When, what is a prime example of defamiliarization of language? You can say Italo Calvino's work, If on a Winter's Night a Traveler. The title itself, If on a Winter's Night a Traveler, the language itself is defamiliarized. So it's very familiar, but it's not, right? If on a Winter's Night a Traveler, The title is very intriguing, that you are drawn towards the book. What does it even mean? The book is also like that. I won't give you any spoiler. That's a, I mean, dazzling book. That's a baffling book. You can read it and you will know exactly what defamiliarization of language means. Anyways, he actually studied Tristram Shandy from a formalist point of view. This has been asked in net previously. So Tristram Shandy has been studied by Victor Slavsky from the formalist point of view. And he also did a formalist study of a short story Shame by Leo Tolstoy. Next one, Boris Eichenbaum. Not very important, but still you need to know the books written by him. He was a member of the Opposius group. The Opposius group had also the other members that I had written here. You can note them down. The other works by Boris Eichenbaum. I am very bad at pronouncing Russian names. Sorry. How Gogol's Overcoat was made, Pushkin as a poet and the 1825 revolt, theory of the formal method. In theory of the formal method, he said it is kind of a manifesto, one of the manifestos of formalist criticism. And he said that there is nothing outside the text, and if you dig a text structurally and study its structure and forms, you will know everything. You don't have to know anything else beyond the text. Now, Zhetan Todorov, he was a Bulgarian French historian and he became prominent in the 1970s. So he was a kind of a younger formalist. Um, he blended cultural anthropology, structuralism, and formalism. Okay. And two books, very important books, are Art of Detective Fiction and Grammar of Decameron. These two are very important books by Zhetan Todorov. In UGC NET paper 2 2021, Art of Detective Fiction, this book was asked. Okay, Art of Detective Fiction was written by, there were four options, and Todorov was the right answer. So you need to know the major works of these theorists. Todorov also wrote a book on Mikhail Bakhtin, and he focused on narratological pattern of works. And there he talked about 5 stages of a character. These are some trivial things that you need to know. So that was all for formalism. It is really difficult to summarize all these very complicated theories, but I am trying as much as I can, and I will improve my explanation skills in the upcoming videos, I hope. Please like these videos, and if you are facing any problem regarding my explanation style or my speaking, if you think that I am speaking too fast, please let me know whatever observation you have regarding this. I would love to sort of rectify my mistakes that I might be making. In the next video, stay tuned for it. It will be on structuralism. And also I want to let you know that I had started my community. In the community part, if you go to my channel, in the community part, you will find that I am uploading daily quiz for net, set, get. And all the quizzes are formed in terms of votes. So you have to choose the right answer. And this is a very good exercise. Before getting my JRF, this time I got my net JRF, and I used a lot. I practiced a lot of quizzes everywhere. The sports things and random quizzes on English literature. This really helped me get to know the haphazard manner that NTA asks questions. You have to. I have always said that you have to embrace the randomness. So these quizzes are very random, and I appreciate your efforts in answering those quizzes, and these quizzes are really helpful. In net also you have to choose from four answers, four options. You have to choose one option. So this also prepares you for it. So um, attempt those quizzes if you may. So that was all. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channels if you haven't yet. And stay tuned to my channel, because in the next video I'm going to talk about structuralism, and also in the meantime there will be videos on 30 days strategy for net, how to get JRF in 30 days, and what are the things that you need to remember for gate, and the strategies for gate, the pattern of gate, and so many things like that. So stay tuned to my channel. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.